There was a time, a beautiful, terrible time, when Hollywood wasn't just a place. It was a kingdom. A glittering golden kingdom built on dreams and celluloid. We call it the Golden Age. Think of it. The flashbulbs, the premieres, the marble mansions perched in the hills like gods on Olympus. It was an era of manufactured perfection where gods and goddesses of the silver screen were born. They seemed to have it all, didn't they? The talent, the beauty, the adoration of millions. It was a fantasy spun for the masses, a beautiful lie we all desperately wanted to believe. But behind the velvet curtains and the studio gates, a different story was playing out. A darker one. This wasn't a kingdom you were born into. It was one you fought, bled, and clawed your way into. Fame was the ultimate prize. To become a star, you had to be willing to do anything, to sacrifice everything. Before there was a diva, there was Lucille Lesueur, a girl from San Antonio with fire in her eyes and a past she was desperate to bury. Her childhood was a landscape of poverty and instability, a world she was determined to conquer. She arrived in Hollywood just another hopeful face in the crowd, but Lucille was different, possessing a ferocious ambition. She shed that skin, let the studio rename her in a magazine contest, and Joan Crawford was born. A name that sounded like power, a name forged in publicity. She understood the camera, public perception. Every gesture was calculated. She cultivated untouchable glamour of steely perfection, a goddess sculpted for the silver screen. Her home wasn't just a house, her children weren't just family. They were props in the ongoing performance of her life. She answered every single fan letter herself. An army of loyal followers. They were her soldiers. She was their queen. She saw rivals everywhere. Every new starlet a threat, every whisper a conspiracy. Her feud with Norma Shearer, MGM's reigning queen, was legendary, fueled by professional jealousy. She was playing chess while everyone else was playing checkers. The press was her favorite weapon. She knew how to plant a story, leak a tidbit that would paint her as either a victim or a victor, whichever suited the narrative. When her career at MGM began to fade, did she retreat? No. She orchestrated a spectacular exit, moving to Warner Brothers, the home of gritty realism, and reinvented herself. It was a huge gamble, trading glamour for grit. It was there she landed Mildred Pierce, the role that would define her and win her an Oscar. She adopted 4 children, crafting the perfect image of a loving single mother for the magazines. But behind closed doors, as Christina Crawford would later allege in Mommy Dearest, the reality was a horror show of discipline, control, and terrifying rage. The infamous feud with Bette Davis during Whatever Happened to Baby Jane was her magnum opus of manipulation. It wasn't just a rivalry, it was a marketing strategy that kept them both in the headlines. When Anne Bancroft won, it was Joan, not Bancroft, who swept onto the stage to accept the award on her behalf. A pre-planned coup, stealing the spotlight one last time. The punishing ice water facials, the grueling exercise, the meticulously crafted mask of makeup. She was putting on her armor every morning to prepare for battle against time and obscurity. Lucille Lesueur died a long, long ago. But Joan Crawford, the magnificent, terrifying creation, achieved a kind of immortality. A legend, a cautionary tale about the price of fame, and a complicated camp icon. If Joan Crawford was a queen ruling with calculated, icy precision, then Bette Davis was a storm, a hurricane of raw, unapologetic talent. She didn't glide into Hollywood, she crashed into it. With her distinctive, clipped accent and those large, expressive eyes, she could convey more with a single glance than most actors could with a monologue. Her energy was a force of nature, often seeming too vast for the silver screen. She was anything but a conventional beauty. And she didn't care. From the very beginning, Bette was a rebel. She saw the studio system for what it was, a gilded cage. While other actresses smiled and accepted the fluffy parts, Bette fought for roles with teeth, understanding that true drama lived in the morally gray areas the studios preferred to ignore. She wanted to play villains. She wanted to play schemers. She wanted to play fallen women. She wanted to play complicated characters. She took out an ad in Variety declaring herself out of work and ready for a real challenge. Her battles with Jack Warner were the stuff of legend. She would go on suspension rather than take an unworthy role. She fled to England and sued Warner Brothers to break her contract, an unprecedented act of defiance that nearly ended her career. She lost in court but won public opinion. It cemented her image as a fearless artist. She wasn't afraid to look ugly on screen. She sacrificed vanity for art, her descent into madness in The Little Foxes. She wanted craft more than glamour. The rivalry with Joan Crawford became the defining public drama of her later career. During Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, the animosity turned physical. 4 marriages, a string of lovers, a famously difficult relationship with her daughter, B.D. Hyman. Messy, complicated, human, and utterly unrepentant. She craved respect over adoration, living her life with the same unapologetic fire she brought to her roles. If Hollywood's leading ladies fought their wars with psychological cruelty and career sabotage, its leading men had a different battlefield. Their own lives. And honestly, no one lived a more spectacularly reckless life than Errol Flynn. He wasn't just a movie star. He was an adventurer. His fame wasn't just chased, it was fueled by scandal. Warner Brothers sold him as the perfect adventurer, and reality was wilder than the marketing. He claimed to have been a pearl diver, a gold prospector, a soldier of fortune. Was any of it true? Who cared? A great story sold the legend. He lived as if he were the hero of his own unbelievable movie. His parties at Mulholland Farm were infamous. Beautiful people, illicit substances, behavior that would make a Roman emperor blush. Flynn presided with a mischievous grin. He knew controversy kept him in the public eye. In 1942, it all came to a head. The statutory rape trial. 2 underage girls accused him. The press feasted. Flynn, with charm and top lawyers, turned the courtroom into a stage. He was acquitted. In Like Flynn was born. The trial marked a turning point. The drinking escalated. The toll began to show. The dashing hero started to look bloated and tired. He made films in Europe. He took on character roles. A sad parody of youth. In the end, the legend consumed the man. A legacy of breathtaking adventure and profound tragedy. Not all chases for fame are driven by ruthless ambition or scandalous rebellion. Some are born of a desperate need for love, a search for a place to belong. Some stories, like Judy Garland's, are victims of a system that manufactured stars with little regard for the human cost. She was born Frances Gumm, a child of vaudeville pushed onto the stage by a mother who saw her daughter's immense talent as a ticket to a better life. When she was signed by MGM at 13, she entered a world that would both make her a legend and break her spirit. The studio system, a gilded cage for so many, was for Judy a prison of impossible expectations where she was constantly told she wasn't pretty enough or thin enough. Louis B. Mayer, the head of MGM, famously called her his little hunchback. They saw her not as a beautiful girl, but as the girl next door. To maintain this image, they controlled every aspect of her life. They put caps on her teeth. They put discs in her nose. Most devastatingly, they put her on a vicious, studio-mandated cycle of drugs. To keep her weight down, she was given amphetamines. To get her to sleep after grueling 18-hour days, barbiturates. This began at age 16. The Wizard of Oz made her the most famous teenager in the world. The irony is heartbreaking. Dorothy in Technicolor. The girl behind the curtain, exhausted and trapped. While the world fell in love with her on-screen persona, the real Judy was trapped in a Technicolor nightmare, desperate for an escape she could never find. Her immense, raw talent was both a gift and a curse. That voice, when you hear her sing, you are hearing the sound of a heart breaking. The public connected with that vulnerability, but the studio exploited it. They worked her to the point of collapse, filming movie after movie, demanding perfection. 5 tumultuous marriages, financial ruin, a constant battle with addiction that began in her teens. Her life became a public spectacle of soaring comebacks and devastating collapses, each one chipping away at her fragile psyche. The public watched, mesmerized by the drama. They cheered for her successes and wept for her failures. She chased the applause because it was the only form of love she truly knew. Her death at 47 from an accidental overdose was not a shock, but a tragic inevitability. She gave the world her voice, her heart, her pain, and in return it demanded everything she had. So there you have it. The fighter, the rebel, the rogue, and the victim. 4 legends of the Golden Age. 4 different paths to immortality, each paved with sacrifice and scandal. Which of these stories shocked you the most? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, hit subscribe and ring the bell. Until next time, stay curious.